Threw down everything that I knew about the chapter and then thought, okay, I'll figure it out later. Now is later. The whole project is now at 10,000 words, which I'm really happy about. Hello and welcome to another video. It is Saturday. It has been sunny, but at the moment it's really grey and overcast, which is perfect for me because I'm going to be sat indoors writing. If you're new here, I'm Katie, I'm a writer, and I'm currently working on a dark academia fantasy novel set in Victorian London. So as of right now, I've written chapter 1, I'm very happy with it. It's gone through substantial edits, it's gone through lots of changes. I feel like I've got a strong foundation for the story. Chapter 2 is what I'm going to be working on today. It's looking strong. It is at around 4,000, no, wrong chapter. It is at 3,251 words. That is a bit higher than what I wanted. I originally thought these chapters were going to be about 3,000 words a piece. Obviously some are shorter, some are longer, but they were going to average to about that amount. Yeah, there's a lot going on, there's a lot in here, but I feel like it's all good stuff. So as I said, chapter 1 I'm very happy with. Chapter 2 I'm going to go and reread, and I might do some tweaking here and there, make some notes. I'm just kind of planning what I'm going to do to finish the chapter off. It is close to being finished, I assume, in terms of word count. Probably it's going to run a lot over. One thing I have been doing on the days that I'm writing is I start the session by rereading what I have read. I try not to spend too long editing or going back over things, and I'm also keeping a pad of paper next to me so that I'm just jotting down any notes and maybe doing a bit of free writing, writing some dialogue, just any ideas, and keeping it really loose. And I find that so helpful because then when I go and I write, even if it's the blank page, I have something to work with. So we're going to crack on with chapter 2. I need to reread it, I need to look at my notes, I need to make some notes, all that stuff, and then hopefully we'll get into some writing. And yeah, I'll catch up with you then. So that was a good start, I think. I reread everything I'd written for chapter 2 already, made some notes, just kind of figured out what I was going to do with a couple of the gaps that I have and how I was going to finish it off. I only managed to add about 200 or 300 words. I had some momentum and then I felt like I got stuck. When I wrote the majority of this chapter, it came out in just one big rush, so some of it was a bit spotty and I just kind of threw down everything that I knew about the chapter and then thought, okay, I'll figure it out later. Now is later, so I'm figuring it out now, but I don't know, some of it's just tricky. I think I'll get there. It's just kind of having that confidence, I think, because as I was saying about being historical or being fantasy, I have to feel like I'm really knowing what I'm talking about. And I think that's why I've started to do research already. I feel pretty confident with a lot of the genre and a lot of the era in terms of like social rules and how people speak and how people would move around society. But it's some of the more dull details that I'm struggling with. It's probably just a confidence thing. I think I might have to start using placeholders and then come back to things later, and maybe I'll find that some things just aren't necessary, and you know, I'll have a better understanding of some things later once I've done more research. For example, I've got my main character in a fancy room at a social gathering with lots of people, and I was thinking, okay, I need kind of names of people that sound real. I want to know where this house is. I want to know a bit of what it looks like so I can write a bit of description. I wanted her to look at a painting that is in the room, and I wanted to find a real life painting, but I decided not to do that. I decided to just describe a painting that I thought would be good in the moment to have her look at. And yeah, there's a lot of opportunities for me to go off on these kind of side missions going to research something particular. I don't want to do that, and I'm trying my best not to do that, but I do get stuck. I'm at this point where I need to have something in there and I just don't feel like it's real. And it's not even that I need to have something that really existed and I copy it completely. It's just thinking about what type of painting would be on the wall, or what type of house, or like what type of social gathering would have been happening. One thing that I am going to be doing is reading some more historically inspired fantasy fiction that's set in the era that I'm trying to set it in, mostly because I think I will get a good understanding of how much people pull from history and how much they allow their imagination to fill in the gaps and make things up. And part of the fun is it's taking the real world and putting a twist on it, but I do think there is this push and pull of like how much you include, how much you make up, how much you play with. So I probably need to go easier on myself and definitely just use placeholders to move forward. I think that's probably what I'm going to try this afternoon, just so I can keep it moving, just so I can get going. But I am really proud of the line level work I've done so far, so it's really hard to use placeholders. I don't want to get sloppy with it. Like, I don't think using placeholders is sloppy as such or anything like that. I've definitely used it in the past and it's been really helpful, but having everything like really nicely slot together and moving forward knowing it's quite clean, it's really hard to break out of that and kind of fight the urge to polish it and make it good so that you can move on. But at some point I'm just never going to finish this book, and there are things about my plot, like some fundamental big things, that could definitely change depending on how I decide to end the book. So much of this could just be scrapped, so I should probably just keep going. All this is just me talking myself into being a bit less precious with the writing and just going for it. And I feel like I've been in these early stages for so long, and I feel like I have a good understanding of the foundation of the story now. So even if I write things that are a lot looser and a lot more like zero draft like, I do have like a solid chapter and a half to kind of use as a style guide to say this is the voice when it's polished, this is what the sentences feel like, this is the rhythm, like all these things. So I'm probably being a little bit too overly cautious, but it's so much easier said than done. So I'm going to carry on with chapter 2. I just wanted to check in for a minute. Hopefully we'll make some headway. Hopefully I can get into the groove a little bit. This has just been so slow, and it really does feel like pulling teeth writing this book, which is so strange because I really like it and I love the ideas and I like the main character. Usually when I've enjoyed a project, I've been able to be really passionate about it and it's all kind of flowed quite nicely. Obviously there's always problems, but this book just seems so hard to write and I don't know why. But I'm going to keep showing up, keep persevering. Hopefully it will just start going better soon. We'll see. So we're going to finish chapter 2. Yeah, we'll see how it goes. I'll check in with you guys in a bit. So that went really well. I wrote for 30 minutes and I think I got quite a lot done. I can't remember what I was on before. I'll pop it on the screen in a second. But now the chapter is at 4,140 words, which is pretty good. So I think for that 30 minutes I wrote pretty steadily. I think I deleted a couple things, but yeah, I think that's pretty good for me. The chapter is not done. It is nowhere near done, but I definitely have moved forwards. I think because I've been away from writing for almost a week. The last time I wrote was Monday, today is Saturday. It means it's just a bit clunky. It's taking me a while to get into it, but the writing I'm doing is good. I think there's just a little bit too much of it. I think it's just a bit over, like I'm just overwriting, where I feel like I'll delete a lot of it when it comes to editing. I'm not going to do that editing now. I'm just going to leave it and then keep moving. But I'm getting to know my character a little bit more and I'm trying to put us in that world and really like ground ourselves in it so that we feel like it's real. And I always get nervous when I do that because I feel like the story, like there's not enough happening. I'm not moving forwards. The plot isn't developing. It's not very exciting. Even if there is movement and we're learning more about the character and things are happening, maybe not of very much consequence, but things are happening. Yeah, it makes me nervous. So I don't really know how well it's gone, but it's going. I realized mid writing that I made a decision that kind of undermines some writing I have later in the chapter. I think I mentioned this before. I wrote the chapter in a bit of a rush because the idea just completely came to me, so I just wanted to get as much down as possible, and that was last weekend. And then I thought, okay, I'll come back and I'll fill in some of the gaps that I didn't know. So that's what I've been doing. I've been trying to get us from A to B, and now I'm realizing that some of the decisions I've made about how I get us from A to B mean that C needs to be changed or maybe taken out or something. So I've got to figure that out. There's a lot of problem solving with this book and it's honestly been such a headache. I do think it'll be worth it, hopefully, but it's just a challenge. I think it's so easy to say any book I'll write after this will be easier, and that probably won't be true. but I have given myself quite a bit of a challenge with this book. I'm going to decide not to dwell on this because it's just going to make me really stuck, but I want to finish chapter 2, so I'm going to go and I'm going to really try and just get there. Okay, I'm going to get back into writing and I will check back in with you soon. All done. So actually that turned out to be a really productive writing day. I felt like it was really successful. So I finished the chapter. I do feel like it's overwritten, but it's very tight towards the end. So something quite big happens at the end, which I'm really happy about, and I think it's the crucial moment of the chapter. I don't mind that the beginning and the middle can feel a bit sluggish. There is world building, there's things I have to explain and introduce to you. I do think it can be improved. I feel like there's loads of room for improvement, but again, I'm going to work on that like in later draft. For now, it's fine. So we are all done with writing for today. I don't know if it was obvious, but I was feeling so flat and so rubbish earlier, and I kind of thought I'll do a bit of fake it till I make it, pretend that I'm getting into it, or I don't really know. I just had to keep pushing through, and it was really slow and sluggish until about half an hour, 45 minutes ago. I did set a timer and then I just kept writing and I just went straight past it. I don't think I even noticed when it was done. The whole project is now at 10,000 words, which I'm really happy about because I didn't expect to hit that milestone. It does mean that chapter 2 is really chunky. I'm not overly worried about it. As I said before, it was a bit overwritten. I was filling it with lots of stuff. I think chapter 2 is that time where you've had your introduction to the world and to the character and all the important stuff, and then you can go back and spend a bit of time world building and kind of fleshing things out before making something bigger happen. And I ended chapter 2 with something quite big happening, so I'm really proud of that. And towards the end of the chapter, things happen quite fast, so I think I can afford to have things slower, but definitely needs editing. I'm gonna work on that in later drafts. I'm not gonna worry about it too much right now, but yeah, it's a bit bloated. I'm just happy that I moved the story on and that we're at a really good point, and now I can start thinking about chapter 3 and I can come back with like a fresh blank page to start on, because chapter 2's kind of been looming over me for a little while. I can't remember what my word count was at the beginning. I'm going to pop it here because I definitely mentioned it, but now the word count for chapter 2 is 4,488 words, which isn't amazing. It's not terrible. I would like it to be a lot shorter. It really depends on how many chapters I end up having, and I probably need to have another look at my plan to figure that out, but I really don't know what that'll be at this stage. I didn't mention this, but recently my partner read chapter 1 after I'd had a long time editing it and sitting on it and developing it and all these things. So he read chapter 1 and he said it was much stronger than early iterations. So I'm excited for him to potentially read chapter 2, see what he thinks. And I've got a few specific questions for him, kind of about the voice and about the plot and, you know, about the pacing, because obviously I've just talked about how I feel like it slows down a lot. So I'll see what he thinks. But I am going to move on to chapter 3 at next time I'm writing, and hopefully I can just keep the momentum going. This book still is very slow to write, and the bit that I finished on was something I'd already written, and I kind of reread it and thought, yeah, that is exactly how I want it. I want to just keep the pace quite tight, so I didn't want to add too much. I'm just really happy, and I'm happy that I like finished the chapter. I had a really good writing day. I don't know how much I wrote today. I'm gonna find that out. So I ended up writing 2,254 words today. I don't have a writing goal in terms of word count. I don't have a daily word count goal or anything like that. I definitely like to finish chapters by a certain point. Even if I don't give myself a specific deadline for it, I don't like to spend too long on a chapter. I think I can get a bit obsessive and you have to keep moving it forward. And also I get bored. I feel like my perception of how interesting a chapter is or how slow or how quick it is gets really warped when I spend too long on it. I mean, especially with a first draft. Maybe when I'm editing it will be different, but if I spend forever writing a chapter, I'll start to feel naturally like it's really slow and really boring. Maybe in editing I'll spend longer on a chapter, but for now I just want to push forwards. I think the reason this project is taking so long is because I find it really hard to sit down with my writing at the moment. As you can see, I only really got good progress in like later in the day. So I kind of need a whole day where there's nothing else really going on and I can just go for it. But there's so many other factors to think about, like, am I really tired from work, and do I just need a Saturday to just be a person and not spend all day writing, or are there other things I need to do? It can be really hard to just clear your diary for a day and just only focus on writing, but every time that I've managed to do it, it's been really worthwhile. So I think that's kind of my method going forward, at least for now. So just making sure that all my work is done. If you don't know, I'm freelance, so that I do tend to work at the weekend sometimes. I'm really trying to break that habit. I make sure that all my work is done in the working week, and then at the weekend I can kind of turn my attention to filming videos, and I can write, and I can do other things. But yeah, considering I started at like 2 o'clock today, I think that's when I first filmed, it's now 6 p.m, so a good solid 4 hours or so of writing, which I really feel like is the maximum amount I can do in a day. I don't know why. I feel like if I had nothing else on, I would still only be able to write for about 4 hours maximum. I think it's just the capacity of my brain in a day. It can only take that much. So I think next time it will be looking at chapter 3. Hopefully I'll do another vlog where I get to write at least a lot of it, hopefully finish it. That would be great. But yeah, it's currently at 10,000 words, which is a really cool milestone to hit. And I just want to keep going now. Like, I really want the momentum to pick up. And hopefully, if work isn't too crazy, I can find a few days here and there during the week, not just at the weekend, that I can find some more time for writing. Last week, I wrote on Monday, and the reason I think it worked well is because I'd written the day before and I'd had the whole day for writing. And then I woke up with a lot of ideas in my head, and I spent a while writing them all out on paper and sort of drafting a scene, and it was very much zero draft. And then when I came to my computer and I started writing, I had all this material to work with. So I'm wondering if I'm going to try that tomorrow, and maybe that'll be another writing vlog, or I'll try that in the week and see if I can pick writing up again. I think taking a break of almost a week in between writing sessions is a bit tricky for me, because I feel like it's so hard to get back into, and I find it really intimidating. I've used that word so many times, and it's bizarre to me because I enjoy writing, and writing is a fun hobby, and I don't have any other hobbies that I feel that way about. I don't get intimidated by my work. My light just died, but I've got a backup light, so it looks a little bit like I'm holding a torch here, but we're gonna go with it. Can't remember what I was talking about. Yes, taking a break for too long between writing sessions isn't really working for me, so I'm gonna try maybe writing during the week. I do quite like writing by hand in the morning, just any ideas I have, just kind of brain dumping and then typing it up later. So I think that might be a good way for me to get my writing in around my work. So I might try that. You might see that in another vlog. And yeah, I think that's everything from me today. So that is the end of the video. Thank you so much for watching. If you would like to see more of my writing vlogs, I think the playlist should be appearing somewhere here now. And if you did enjoy the video and feel like popping a like down below, I would really appreciate it. It does help the channel. And of course, if you want to keep up with my progress as I write this book, you can subscribe. Until next time, bye!